Welcome back yet again, friends, strangers, and enemies. We are back to it yet again at long last. I've recently been incapacitated and procrastinating for reasons that are completely not my fault. So, to get back into the swing of things, instead of one figurine, let's review 4. Friends, strangers, and enemies, I present to you 4 hot blondes, 3 of which are clones. So we have 2 girls here from 2 different franchises, but 3 of the 4 figurines here are the same girl. One is from an ecchi anime centering around aliens with all the typical tropes anime fans love, and the latter from an eroge turned hentai animation. Let's start with ecchi. Yami, the Golden Darkness, is an assassin from the ecchi anime series To Love Ru. Originally tasked with killing the series' main protagonist, Rito Yuki, under false pretenses, this Taiyaki-munching murderer became the central plot point in the Darkness arc of the series, and eventually softened her stance on Rito over time, while befriending his younger sister. It probably goes without saying that I have a strong affinity for this tsundere cutie, and while I may be among those that believe that my waifus are awaiting for me in the afterlife, sadly, I do not believe Yami is going to be among them. Why not? Because of this.
I detest perverts.
Yeah, no such luck with this promage. Oh, wait, what?
However, I have to admit it, I am fond of fools.
So what you're saying is I have a 50-50 chance, then? Well. Right, improbable fantasies aside, let's check out these figurines. We're going to start off with this impulse item here, which I regret acquisitioning. Not only for the obvious damage to the box itself, but for the figurine overall. Looking at her, you can tell right away off the bat that this is a low-quality figurine. The eyes themselves look a little on the sad side, and her overall appearance makes her look like a droopy and poorly painted bootleg. Let's get that base set up first and foremost. Then we'll examine her in greater detail. The base is generic in design, a jet black circle with divots for the foot pegs. And now you can see in greater detail what I was talking about with the droopy eyes. Not a fitting expression for our tsundere assassin, if you ask me. I also take notice of where the plastic is slightly warped around the star on her chest. And her piss-colored hair here is transformed into a fist. An ability that she does have in the series, but this shouldn't be a solid piece in my opinion. You could have easily made this an accessory and made her normal hair detach on this part of the figure. Look, there's even a little line in the mold where they glued it together. Don't tell me that this would have been too much trouble to pull off. Another company would have been able to do it just fine. And even though you saw me slice the tape off the box earlier, I'm not completely convinced that this figurine wasn't on display beforehand and just resealed. Because the next thing I notice is this discoloration on Yami's leg. I guess it's possible that the manufacturers just didn't care when they were making it, and if that's the case, it gets even less of a pass in my book. Well, at least we can treat ourselves to a panty shot here instead of it being a black void from the thighs up. There are more blemishes and discolorations on her legs. The breaks in the mold of her hair are very distracting and noticeable. One detail I will say that I appreciate, though, is how her skin has the appearance of being compressed with these belts around her thighs. It does give the illusion that her flesh is being squeezed, but even this makes me scratch my head and wonder why they didn't just put more detail into things like the paint job and allow for additional accessories. So far, we're off to a pretty weak start, but now that we have that disappointment out of the way, let's move on to a better-looking figure. Up next on the menu is a pop-up parade variant of Yami wearing a swimsuit. Pop-up parade boxes are mostly plastic and transparent, so save for a few labels here and there, there's not much to appreciate. So we're just going to examine the figurine itself. Right off the bat, I can immediately tell that more care was put into this figurine with the color coordination and expression here. The base is translucent pink and shows some branding, and I'm assuming this part on top also says Made in China as well, but I wouldn't even know where to begin translating. There is some depth to her mouth here, and this Yami's expression is more fitting and faithful to her tsundere portrayal in the source material. Her expression is sharper and less droopy, like the last one, and although she isn't wearing much here, there is still more to her swimsuit than just giving her a simple black bikini. I mean, it is simple, but Yami also sports the same star pattern on both her top and bottom here, that you could find in her everyday outfit. leading me to headcanon that she had this thing custom made for her. Great, but Yami also keeps one of her thigh belts, and even has a little accessory here in her hand. I briefly mentioned that this girl loves her taiyaki before, and she happens to have one of those here as an accessory. The taiyaki is attached to the figurine itself and can't be removed from her hand, but with that little dip in her mouth, that makes me wish that it gave us the option to remove it from her hand and stuff her cute little face with that pastry. We have a transparent peg here to attach to the base, and much like the previous figurines that I covered, I'm led to believe that this is supposed to create the illusion of her standing on her toes without support. If that makes any sense to you, just set her into the base and move on to figure 3. This final Yami here is from Good Smile Company, and dressed in her usual attire, and is housed in the best looking box of the 3. There is still wear on it, but the art on the box surpasses the last 2 that we looked at. We have another black base for this one, but unlike Bootleg Yami from 2 figures ago, this one has branding on it, engraved under the pegs here. This was sitting loose in the box, and does have some scuffing on the wrist. Wait, why does she have a loose arm in the packaging? Well, that's because this Yami has a blade variant that you can swap around on her right arm. I touched on this briefly when covering the first figurine, but Yami has the ability to transmogrify parts of her body to make weapons out of her limbs. Hence, the giant fist present in Little Miss Bootleg, and the Team 1000-esque hand knife here. Yami also sports a much more determined expression here, befitting of her personality. Great butt, and a similar detail with her thighs being squished by these belts. Now, for when I display Yami here, I'm actually going to swap out to her default hand, and those scuffs that I was concerned about before, irrelevant. The sleeve overlaps the discolored parts. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. Also, this is a minute and simple thing, but I love how this blade here is painted. You wouldn't be blamed for thinking that it was metal. I almost mistook it as such myself, with the way that the light reflects off the blade. And that's it for the Yami trio here. You may be surprised, but I actually like the last one most out of the lot. The bootleg one was majorly flawed with scarcely any redeeming qualities, save for the detail with the thigh belts and panty shots. Swimsuit variant was a vast improvement, but sex appeal always makes things awesome. Her swimsuit had more effort put into it than a flat black generic one, which, again, with the star pattern here, I'm led to believe that she had this thing custom made. And I love how they included the taiyaki pastry for her, even if it is stuck to her hand and can't be removed. And the colors and the expression show more care than the last. The Good Smile one improves in the accessory department, allowing for her to swap out between the blade and normal hand. And while this outfit is just her generic one that we see all the time, I enjoy having this among my other acquisitions. Originally, when I was searching for her, I was afraid I would only come across bunny and bathing suits, considering this is from an ecchi anime and all, and figurines from anime with similar subject matter tend to be manufactured in every skimpy outfit under the sun, and never in their default outfit. I'll be the last person to complain about scantily clad anime girls on screen or as figures alike, but when that's all that's available, it leaves much more to be desired. Just ask Eucla would. Well then, with that out of the way, let's take a look at the fourth figurine. This here is Mafuyu. She's from a hentai animation and visual novel called Kanojo X ×3. I don't know a whole lot about the plot for that series since I always found myself distracted when skimming. I can tell from surface level of understanding, and a little research on a few databases, that Mafuyu is a gothic Lolita and a young sister of the series' protagonist. By a strange coincidence, she is also a tsundere, and her emotions remain subdued. Though, unlike Yami, she is more in touch with her pervy side, and regularly engages in reading Euro novels, and also has an odd habit of making friends with crows. Sounds like a girl I could jive with. Anyway, let's take a look at the figurine itself. This Blackberry brand figurine of this tsundere cutie actually comes in 2 variants, a black outfit or a red. Now, considering that Mafuyu's go-to color is black, coupled with the fact that up until just recently you couldn't find this figurine anywhere, I just opted to acquire this one. It appears that this figurine was pre-owned, and there is light damage to the box here. And this will no doubt be the lewdest of the 4. While swimsuit Yami bordered on ecchi, the cover art for Mafuyu promises to grace us with unfiltered access to Mafuyu's jiggle spheres and cute pink kitten. Now, in typical fashion, we're going to start off with the base. This one is pretty interesting, actually. Instead of a plastic base that you could display by sitting flat, this one is a picture frame with this soft fabric, which is fantastic. The cushion here will protect the body from being scuffed, so I have to give props. But the thing that I don't care for very much is that, like a real picture frame, the back is a thin cardboard and easily prone to being damaged. Normally, I would give points for authenticity, but in this particular instance, it would have been acceptable if they had made the whole thing out of plastic. Even this little piece of cardboard for propping her up on an angle feels like it'll snap in half at the slightest bit of stress. And here we have Mafuyu in all of her half-naked glory, complete with her...
Alright, pussy, come on in, pussy lover! This is a pussy blowout!
And while I wish that she was a full cast-off figurine, I am still pleased with this acquisition overall. Aside from the display itself, I just wish that I would have waited for this to depreciate in value, because, well, I'm never gonna get my hands on Rebecca or that Jang Shai at this rate. So hey, as long as you're watching, why don't you consider donating? Help me fund these videos and help me feed myself. Now, that was a pretty fun way to get back into the swing of things. I don't think there's much more that needs to be said now, aside from here endeth the review. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you again down the line.
Fall in love with what a woman does. Tease and grin, so it's so cute. Quite sincere, the guys claim to you dear. Still gives us time to be entranced by you. Found in the mags and all the silly facts. A woman's got the skills to keep you trapped, so take it easy. If we take a look inside, these fickle hearts and minds, it'd be so easy to understand it all. Can I say it's best to know the way we wanna go? It's easy to confuse all our dreams and fall. Are you getting smothered by all the feelings that you've been hiding? Don't let these pile up too soon. And if you're lost or feel too much, I will look for you. Now, sorry.